Hey up everybody, I'm just doing a little modification on my micro lathe. So just to briefly put you in picture, although it's looking like a lathe now, I've still got one or two outstanding jobs, little jobs I've got to do, but also as I'm going through things I'm doing a few modifications. So why am I doing these modifications then? Because as I've been making this lathe, I think I must have said this in the past, the actual part I've been making, it's like I've got no drawings, it's just come out of my head at that particular time. Obviously there's been some thought going to it, but I'm finding a few things that want modifying slightly. Just for instance, that belt tensioner which I've done a video on, that were annoying. I've recently done a video on my clutch, that was slipping, so I've put a liner on that. So in this one then, before I go on to the next part that I'm going to make, I've noticed that my little oil wells that I've put in, the oil's going down too fast. So I'll just bring the camera over and explain what I've been doing. Right, I've got 4 oil wells on the major parts that's spinning fast, if I'll put it that way. I've not got any on my back gear shaft because I can oil that without any oil wells because it's only running very slow, that, but the main spindle and the main pulley is actually running quite fast. So on top speed it could be running at 1000 RPM. So I've put these 4 oil wells in and I found out that they're dissipating the oil too quickly. So on the original ones then, I've put a 90 thousandths hole in, or shall we say 332 or 2.5 millimetre. So I thought, right, I'll reduce that hole size, so I've put a bush in this one and I've put a 32nd hole in because that's the only smallest drill I've got, which is 32 thou. So I've reduced the hole size by, well, 2/3, from 332 to 132. I've put oil in them both and I've been trying it, and lo and behold, the oil is still going down exactly at the same rate. So I've thought about something different now. I'm going to put a wick in each oil well. I've already done it in the top ones, so that the wick goes through the hole and touches onto the part it's lubricating on the shafts. So what I've done then, I've just put some string in, and that string's going right through the hole into the where the bearing is. So it's actually touching, more or less touching where the bearing is. And I'm going to try that. So I'll just take you over to the workbench and I'll show you what I'm doing. Right, so here's my original oil wells with that 3/32 hole in. I've tried reducing that down to 1/32, and the rate of flow doesn't make any difference at all. So I've found some string that's a tight fit for 3/32 hole. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to, I've done it already on my top 2 oil wells. I'm just threading this string into this 3/32 hole, and it's a bit tricky because string's wanting to undo itself on its strands, but once you get it started you can actually screw that string right up into the oil well. There we are. So that's come up into oil well now, look. Right. So the distance down to the bearing surface is 3/8. So once that's threaded in, I've got to cut off this wick at 3/16 long, so I'll just do that. It don't matter if it's a fraction longer. Right, that should touch the bearing surface now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to screw them back in, and then I'm going to make some caps to put on top of these just to keep the dust out. Right, I'm going to try that now. I'm going to make some little caps for these now. Keep the dust out and any turnings, and then I'll monitor that and see if that's made it any better. Well, that's another part of jigsaw completed. So I'll move on to the next part in the next video perhaps. So if you found that useful, interesting, etc, etc, give me a thumbs up and a subscribe, I'd appreciate that. And I'll catch you next time then. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.